Facundo Campazzo is 30 years old. Despite that, he was only an NBA rookie this season. After many trophies in Europe with Spanish team Real Madrid, Argentinian finally got a chance with the Denver Nuggets. Why only now? Well, most likely because he's only 1 meter and 78 centimeters tall or 5'10". To get a chance on the biggest stage of the basketball world at this height, you have to be really special before someone gives you an opportunity. The NBA is becoming taller, bigger and faster every year, and the athletic abilities are valued at all-time highs. Guys like Facundo have a hard time staying efficient on the court due to their lack of size. Jamal Murray's injury opened up a huge chance to Campazzo in the playoffs, and he showed to everyone that even a little guy like him can stand his ground in the NBA. Let's examine what abilities allow him to be efficient, or how I like to call it, short player's guide in the NBA. First, let's talk about his weaknesses. Obviously, his lack of size creates two problems. On the offensive end, he has a really hard time finishing inside the paint. He doesn't play many pick and rolls since he is the last option in the Nuggets starting five, but once he does, he is not able to finish inside even if he manages to get really close to the rim. He didn't seem confident about making these, and had even more problems when opponents' big guys were contesting. Due to this, he finished the postseason with only 38% shooting from 2-point range, making only one shot per game. Moreover, he was only at 29% with a player 2 to 4 feet away from him, which is considered a tight shot like you see in these clips. Defensively, his lack of size problem wasn't so clear because he manages to mask it off with amazing energy every game. From time to time, you can see that his closeouts are not really affecting other players' shots since he is that much smaller than anyone else, especially if he is closeouting against bigger guys after rotations. Other point guards often try to use their size advantage by taking him to the post, as you can see here with Damian Lillard. Campazzo has a strong body, and it's not so easy to back him down, but he just can't do anything against shots like this. So what's the antidote against all that? How he is able to stand his ground and get playing time in the NBA? To start, he had no problem understanding his role. In Spain, he was one of the main guys of the team who got everything going for Madrid. Here, his role on offense is much different. Organize the possessions, once in a while create a shot for others, and probably the most important one, knock down open threes so opponents have to stay honest with you. Campazzo is a prime example of how knowing your role, even not a very big one, and being a star in it is helping him to get NBA minutes and survive in the league. I'm sure I don't need to tell you how spacing is important in the NBA. Every player nowadays has to have a valid 3-point shot if he wants to stay on the court, with a couple of exceptions. Argentinian played 5 seasons in EuroLeague and maintained an average of 34% from distance. Not great, not terrible. Knowing that, NBA teams decided to take a risk going to help strongly off of him. However, this didn't really work in the playoffs since Campazzo knocked down almost 40% of his threes. That was fundamental to his minutes and his team performance. He understood his role perfectly and took only open shots. Advanced stats tell us that only one of his 48 tries from distance was a contested shot. Due to his poor finishing inside, his made 3-pointers were the first key to him getting more minutes in the playoffs. He was an amazing creator in Europe and also when playing for his national team. But when your team consists of Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. and others, you are obviously not going to have the ball that much. Despite that, when asked, Campazzo served that magic we were used to seeing. This gave Jokic some possessions to save a bit of energy, where instead of creating alone, he had to only finish the play. He was the main receiver of Campazzo's assists, as NBA.com player tracking suggests. Playing pick and roll, he barely tried to create for himself even if he managed to get inside the area. He used his patience and his smarts to find the best angles for the passes, and we even got to witness these over the head or between the legs beauties. Creating was always his biggest skill, which got him to the NBA in the first place, and he continues to show that off in the league as well. Campazzo knows his role perfectly. He is a true pass-first playmaker who is responsible for making others better. I love his vision and how he rewards his running big men. There is a saying in basketball that you have to reward big guys for sprinting hard because not a lot of them like to do that, and obviously it takes away a lot of energy. Everyone likes easy points, and while Facundo is on the court, you can expect him to try to set you up for a lot of early opportunities. In half-court basketball, most teams tried to cut under the screen while Campazzo was playing pick and rolls. His ability to shoot is still not considered stable, so Portland was giving him much space here, sometimes actually baiting him into taking a couple of these shots. What's the best way to punish your opponents going under? Try to attack them quickly and finish with the layup. If not, play the rescreen really deep so they are forced to switch. Miscommunication can happen, and it's exactly what we see here as Ayton jumps to contest while Bridges is still going under. Suns are forced to switch and Jokic scores easily instead of Campazzo shooting another free. Another way to beat it is a quick rescreen. Here, Lillard goes under twice before Jokic switches the angle and Dame is caught on the screen. Campazzo smartly extends his dribble to the side, forcing Cantor to commit, thus leaving Jokic open on the roll. Delicious dish and 2 easy points. Campazzo knows how to counter his weaknesses and is not forcing anything on the court, so when opponents go under and he doesn't have the possibilities to create, he just finds a teammate and gives him the ball. After all, there are enough scorers on that Nuggets roster and his job is to set them up. Like here, where he gives the ball to the hot hand Austin Rivers, who had like 7 triples in this game. Look how that unselfishness pays off. His team-first attitude was extremely clear when playing against switches. He almost never chose to attack himself, aware of his limits. Instead, he always looked inside for his big guys, knowing that Aaron Gordon or Paul Millsap have a huge size advantage. He trusted them even with 3 seconds left on the clock. I wonder how many other point guards in the league in this situation would have just let it fly from free. Campazzo is a limited offensive player, but his smarts and understanding of his role makes him a viable option from the bench. At the start of the video, we talked about his size limits on the defensive end. Apart from that, he has everything you could want in a player defensively. He is one of those guys which are annoying to play against, but you would love to have him on your team. Why? Facundo always gives 100% on the court and on defense is so active with his pressure on opposing point guards. This is highly important since most of them are leaders of their teams, and having them getting tired while crossing half-court is something you always want as a coach. Campazzo gets really close to his man while defending pick and rolls, even if they are happening really high. Portland likes to set these high ball screens for Dame, and Campazzo managed to steal a couple of balls with his active hands and movements, making Lillard guess if he is going over or under the screen. He never misses his defensive duties when the talk comes about the rotations. Having played in Europe, he has drilled those every day in practices. His energy and speed lets him arrive there on time or even early. You can be sure that he will not forget that he is the low man on the defense and will help on an empty side ball screen, like here. When Jokic goes up to meet the guards high on the three-point line, Campazzo always has his back, bumping the rolling big man high here, giving Jokic more time to come back. After that, he even box outs the opposing big man, often preventing them from easily tipping in the ball and scoring 2 points. Here, he recognizes Jokic contesting Lillard's long three, and his bump/box out on Nurkic doesn't allow him to take the offensive rebound. Campazzo does so many little things that you may not notice while watching the game, or see it in the stat sheet, but I can guarantee you that Michael Malone loves having this guy on his team. His height is problematic on closeouts where higher players can see the rim easily and don't even feel his presence. Nevertheless, Campazzo tries his best by using speed and knowing the scouting report. If he sees a shooter in front of him, he tries to close out really hard, running at him full speed, making him put the ball on the floor or pass it out. You just saw how he ran at Covington and made him pass out the ball, and now look at this recovery after going to double Lillard. Full sprint versus Melo, who doesn't shoot and then takes a much more difficult shot later. Campazzo is a picture-perfect example of how small guards can survive and even have an important role in the NBA, where athletic freaks are taking over. Argentinian understood his role quickly and is a real star in it. He masks his size problems by doing more than anyone else does on the defensive end. In offense, he punishes teams for leaving him open at the three-point line, keeping the offense alive. He thinks about his teammates first and knows how to set them up because of his greatest skill, creation and passing. This is how the Denver Nuggets point guard is showing the way for all the small players how to survive in the NBA. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments down below what would be an interesting topic to break down in the next videos. It can be the Olympics though. See you next time.